Hello, everybody out there, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger comic book review. Giving you guys last week's books. Unfortunately, they're a week late due to the fact that they came late. Spring break, Easter weekend, mail doesn't move, so unfortunately, this review is coming to you guys late. The good news is the books in this review, which the books in this review were released on
March 23rd, 2016.
and the books for the next review, which are the books that came out this week, there weren't that many, so we should be able to catch up fairly quickly. Hopefully, we can get you guys the next review ASAP, depending on when the books come. Hopefully, they'll come tomorrow, which is Saturday, and everything will get back on track as quick as possible. By the way, just a little kind of disclaimer for those of you that missed the Dark Avenger live show. I highly recommend going onto that show. Fast forwarding a half hour in, there were some updates for this channel. If you don't want to watch, if you don't have the time to watch the live show, I will mention them again on this week's comic book haul, which will be probably tomorrow. So stay tuned for that if you haven't seen the live show yet. If you have seen the live show, you know this channel is going through some changes. So just keep that in mind.
Alright, so we're going to start things digitally.
That's why you're behind the camera.
Yes. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 10, Issue number 25.
I love this. So basically, Buffy's sister is the key. So the only way to close the portal between the two worlds is for her to go on the other side of the portal, which is basically hell, and close it. But everybody else has to go back to Earth. So basically, she's stuck there until Buffy can figure out a way to get her back. And the good news is Xander actually decides to stay with Willow as well, which I thought was really nice. And we find out that spirit that's been following around that everybody believed was the girl that died. Her name left my mind completely. I apologize. Yeah, she definitely is going to have a role to play later on. Buffy was confirmed for another season, like I mentioned during the whole video. I'm very happy for that. So that means now we're building up to a season finale, going into a season premiere after probably a month break or so. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where this season is going to end off at and where it's going to go when it gets into season 11. Really great. Love the artwork. The story's really fun. If you didn't watch Buffy on TV, like myself, the comic books are really welcoming if you jump in on a good story arc. I did that 2 years ago and haven't looked back since.
In a world where Cobra turns the tables on G.I. Joe, this is G.I. Joe Deviations One Shot.
No. No, 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 no. Now, anyone who's read G.I. Joe Real American Hero or G.I. Joe the IDW run, you guys are treated to some really great artwork, and I love the artwork that's in the G.I. Joe books. When I opened this, or when I digitally opened this book up, as fast as I opened it, I basically looked through a few pages and then closed it. No offense to the artist that's on this book, but the artwork just completely took me out of the book without even starting to read. It was very, as I believe Jay mentioned it on the live show, it was very manga-esque, but at the same time, it didn't fit in a comic book. The art just wasn't doing anything for me, and in the end, I couldn't do it. In the end, I just let it go. I closed the book. I would recommend looking inside the book before you make the purchase. The artwork definitely took me out of this book.
Independence Day, Issue number 1.
I enjoyed this. This takes place during 1996 when the human race basically fought back against the aliens, and we're now winning because they figured out how to stop them. And a ship ends up crashing in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, I want to say. And they go on an expedition to the ship. And it's really a lot of background, a lot of setup for what's to come. Titan's doing an amazing job with Independence Day. There's a nice little a times table from before 1996, but into 1996 and beyond to where we're at now. And it sets up for the new movie that's coming, and it's really good. I enjoyed reading this first issue. We get the alien on the last page. Really looking forward to where we're going from here.
Klaus issue number 4.
This is the only book that Grant Morrison has done that's just amazing. We get backstory of Klaus and the Queen. We find out that he was framed for killing her dad. It turns out it was the guy that she ended up with. I forgot his name too, but he's the miser basically that doesn't like Christmas. And he makes her another bird. He gives it to her. He gives her a toy for the prince. And they're playing together. And then the father comes in and he's like, I have a better idea. And this is the first time we see somebody writing a letter to Santa Claus. So basically this guy's going to call Claus out. And we get backstory. We find out how the wolf and him got together. How he got thrown out of the village because he was thought to have killed the king. Really amazing book. I'm just loving it. I mean, I wish it was more closer to Christmas. But again, by the time this ends, I believe we will be going into fall possibly. Because this is issue number
4,
5, 6. Nah, we'll be in summer about. But still, it's a really enjoyable book. I'm really enjoying it a lot.
Hellboy and the
B.P.R.D.
I always get that mixed up. 1953. This is issue number 2.
Guilty pleasure, man. Mike Mignola's writing for Hellboy is amazing. The artwork is great. If you are a Hellboy fan, you'll be checking this out. If you're not, you won't. I'm waiting for Hellboy. This is a story that takes place in 1950, as it says, 1958.
53.
3. I knew you said 3, and I don't know why 8 came out of my mouth. Again, though, I'm waiting for present-day Hellboy to come back, because right now Hellboy's in hell, but I have a feeling at some point we're going to get Hellboy back in the present day, and that's what I'm looking forward to more. But I'm loving this. If you're a Hellboy fan, you definitely got to be reading this book.
My turn. Bloodshot Annual, issue number 1.
Cool. Could you pass me my iPod for a moment? I want to actually check something.
So, yeah. So, this book, as I think I showed the cover, did I?
Just show it again.
Yeah. So, in this Bloodshot, I really thought that this book was interesting. What it really talked about was that, they're like these 2 kids who go in this abandoned house where Bloodshot lives in. And there's this weird-looking person who was in the woods that was going to attack. I don't remember what he was called, actually. So they have a fight with each other, both Bloodshot and this creepy-looking guy. And he finds out about this person. And the thing about this person is that he doesn't kill him like Bloodshot because of the nanites that he has. He doesn't really do that. And there's a bunch of other stuff that happens in this, so it was really interesting. There were other parts on the book, like other stories, but I thought the blood squirt one was kind of funny, but yeah. But really something to check out. Now, this is issue number 4, even though I thought this was 3 in the whole video. The Death-Defying Dr. Mirage Second Lives, issue number 4. And this is, and this is the final issue of this story. And what it talks about is that Juan goes through this scroll thing, and it's trying to find out what DeWalt's weakness is, because he's going through these bodies and possessing them. So they're trying to find a way to strategize how to defeat him. So they meet up with DeWalt, and he's like saying, oh, like, this is nice, but wait a minute, there's something wrong here, because he found out it was a trap. So what they do is that they use all these magic stuffs. Dr. Mirage does like all this portal closing, and Juan almost got caught in there, but his lover, so to say, was trapped with him forever and got in the portal, where Juan, I think he's sort of seen in this book. I don't really know, but
don't mind me, guys.
Yeah, but all in all, a really great book, and it says the end question mark, so something is going to happen where probably either DeWalt's going to be released or I don't know, because he's trapped forever. Digitally of Exo Manowar, issue number 45. I will get this physically, but I have it digitally. And this is the next part to the Kill List. I believe it's part 3. It doesn't say it on here. But, alright. But basically the next part of Kill List. So, from last issue, we see that Thrill has everyone on his side saying that Arak is just, he's not for you guys. Like, I'm the new leader. And he really takes a low blow at the priest. Just saying that, you said that everything was going to be all peaceful and everything. And look what you've done. Everything is just all like wrong and everything. And also, everyone's under Thrill's power, which is why the humans go after Arak. And it's affecting the Vines, who are now going after the humans on Arak's home world. And then the whole big war's happening. Everybody's going to hate each other. And Priest actually got kicked out of the other realm where Thrill now has everybody on his side. So now that Arak hears that the Vines are attacking the humans, it looks like next issue he's going to go back and see what's going on. But this is really bad for... Not really bad issue. Like, this is a really bad situation, but it's a really good issue. And someone actually dies in this issue, but I don't want to give it away. Hellchild, issue number 1. This is a brand new book from Zenescope. And what it focuses on is Lisa... How do you say Van
Lisa
Helsing?
Van Helsing.
Yeah, Lisa Van Helsing and Hades. And what it focuses on is that, remember the story where I told you that Hades lost his daughter Angelica? Well, basically, in this story, she wants to try to bring her back to life because Hades hasn't been the same ever since she died. So, as everything else is going on, there's these other people who are trying to bring her back in a bad way. So she is trying to stop them in case like anything else goes bad. But unfortunately, when they get there, it's a little too late because the destruction and damage has already been done. And now we're going to see what's going to happen in the next issue. But really interesting book. Definitely check that out. Tomb Raider, issue number 2, came out. And what this is basically is just a whole journey of, trying to find out what's going on with the this artifact that she has. And there's a lot of other stuff that happened, but I can't really remember that much because there was just like so much that happened in this book, like all in like one page and everything. But there are a lot of people that are going after Lara Croft, and the people going after her, she has something that she won't give to them. And there's like all these other creatures that go after them. Really adventurous book. Something for that. Alright, now we're going into the big 2. Batman&Robin Eternal, issue number 25.
This is the penultimate issue right here, guys. This is where it all sets up, and I can't wait to get through this episode because I'm going to actually run and get our digital books to find out how it all concludes. The fear gas is released. The Bat family's fighting all over the world to try to stop the children. Mother loses control of the children because the fear gas is released. The good guys start to win. Dick versus Azrael. Dick beats Azrael in a way. I don't want to spoil how, even though it's 2 weeks late. Read the book. And he gets to Mother as she's like, I will not lose. And he's like, well, that's what I'm here for, to try to stop you. Oh, she's like, nobody's going to stop me. And he's like, well, that's what I'm here for then. And Harper, you see, she's kind of teeter-tottering between Mother and, I guess, Batman, so to speak. But I think it's all a ploy, and she's going to free Cassandra in the next issue, and everything's going to end really nicely. I'm really excited to read issue number 26. If you haven't been checking this out, either get the single issues or wait for the big trade paperback like I am and get the entire run as a compendium because it is worth it.
Grayson, issue number 18.
This is a fun read again. I'm at this point just reading it just to get through it, and it's going to bring us back to Nightwing, hopefully. In this issue, he's fighting against we find out that there's somebody else that is behind why did they leave my mind at the moment? Spiral, and they are taking control, and it's crazy. This book is interesting, but I'm so glad that it's a finite series and that it's ending soon because I can't take Dick as a secret agent much longer.
The Infinity Entity, issue number 3.
Honorable mention only. I literally am just at the beginning of this book. Really enjoying it, though. If you guys are not checking this out, it's a weekly series. I believe it's ending this week. I could be wrong. There might be one more issue. I'm not sure. I believe this is issue 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it ends with issue 4. I'm not too sure yet. But I'm enjoying it. I'm loving the artwork. I think you guys should check it out. It's not an event. It's just something following the Infinity Entity around. It's really good.
Venom Space Knight, issue number 5.
It was okay. Flash took this panda woman back to this bounty hunter. They tried to save her daughter. The panda turns on Venom, but it turns out at the end of the book that that's what he kind of planned already, and he loses the symbiote. The symbiote kind of attaches to the guy that's been hunting down Flash, and that's really the long and short of it. As it starts to rain, I just want to see where the rain's coming from. I don't want it to come in on anything. Okay.
Obi-Wan and Anakin, issue number 3.
I love this. They got betrayed by the end of this issue by one of the two factions. I will not spoil this because I know this is a monthly book, so you still have time to read this book. But Anakin gets tricked, suffice it to say, into helping one of them and fixing, because he's a mechanic, so he kind of fixes things. We get to see a little bit more of Anakin and oh man, why is his name leaving me? Emperor and the Emperor, and you get to see the Emperor starting to push, sow his seeds into Anakin's head to try to get Anakin to kind of fall towards his side. So the manipulation began when Anakin was just a boy, and you could tell that. I really am enjoying this. I was not expecting to like this, but in the end, Anakin gets kidnapped, and now it's going to be up to Obi-Wan to save him, and that's where it's left off.
All new, all different Avengers Standoff, issue number 7.
Only read half the book. It's connected to Standoff. I read the first part where it was connected with Miss Marvel and Vision, and Vision's trying to make up with Miss Marvel for what happened in the first story arc. Then they get the call and they end up going to Pleasant Hill, and everything goes crazy, and it's all connected to Standoff. If you're interested from this point on and you're reading Standoff, you already know. If you're not reading Standoff, then you're not missing anything.
Cyborg, issue number 9.
That's yours.
No, it isn't. I didn't...
Oh, I started reading it. I haven't finished it. It's a really interesting book. I'm just reading it to completion at this point. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it is mine. I didn't finish reading it into completion yet.
I was about to say.
I've been reading this. I actually haven't had this in the review. I accidentally put Cyborg in. I've been reading it on, leisure, mostly. I haven't finished the book yet, but I'm enjoying it for what it is. Honestly, I'm just waiting for the new volume to come out with Rebirth at this point. I'm literally just started the book. I'm reading them very slowly at this point. But I'm enjoying it. The artwork's pretty good. But again, Cyborg kind of the weakest out of all the DC books right now for me.
A book we read. Hyperion.
That's the book we read.
Issue
I
number
liked
1.
this issue.
I really like this book also. Like, it really shows, he doesn't show his superhuman powers.
He doesn't want to be Hyperion anymore.
No, he doesn't, because of, all the stuff that's happened in the past. So, what happens is that there's this little girl who is, all by herself, and she ran away from this place who was really a bunch of weird people.
It was a circus.
Like, it was a circus freak of stuff. So, they find her, and she almost gets, going home with them, but she actually gets smart, like saying, I know you're a superhero, just tell me, because I know that you can do so many things. And he's saying, no, you have the wrong person, I know who you're talking about.
And
but
then at the end, when they say,
yeah.
when she says Hyperion, he breaks out and he saves her. And then she's
Which
like,
makes
you're
it
not going to
crazy.
kill him. And he's like, no, I'm just going to teach them a lesson.
And he just lives the calm, oh man, things got so serious.
I liked it.
I really liked this issue.
Good artwork,
Really
too.
something. And don't you dare laugh when I mention this.
Nope.
Carnage issue
Oh, he's on a boat!
6.
He's on a boat!
I knew it. And really what this story is about is that there's this girl, why her name...
Boat.
Whatever her name was.
Boatress.
She tries to tend to Cleus Cassie, who is out conscious, and then he's saying you shouldn't be reading that book, and then he turns to a symbiote, and it's all on the boat where it takes place. She tries to escape, and then she doesn't, and basically the Carnage, how he wanted to make followers of his, he infects the girl with it, and to be honest, I really thought that this book was going to be a break book, because I thought the way the cover looked, but never judge a book by its cover. I thought it was a really good book, because now she has the symbiote, and in the end she meets up with Eddie Brock and the other people, so with the symbiote that's in her, that's gonna be a twist for the next issue. Uncanny X-Men issue number 5. It was an okay book, really. Like, it's getting to a great point in the book where it's now Magneto going up against the Dark Riders, thanks to the Dr. Trey, who was the bait to get them there. And he just fights off against them, and then there's just like a whole bunch of other stuff that happens where there's more stuff that's going to happen, and really that's all I could say about the book. It's just like him going up against the Dark Riders, and also Phantom X makes a little bit of an appearance in this book as well. It's just them just trying to eliminate mutants, and Magneto's not going to accept that. And lastly, as I mentioned, Patsy Walker, a.k.a. Hellcat, issue number 4. And let me just back this up because this is the last one. Yeah. So, I don't know what to think of this book. Like, it was okay, like an average read. We get a Howard the Duck who actually comes in this book, and like they said on the Frontline Live, his character looks weird. And they're just doing like this whole investigation of what's going on. That girl who was does all this magic stuff. The queen says you must bring her to me and everything. So she does everything in her power, and you could probably draw a whole picture of they meet each other and then nothing happens. Like she doesn't do it. So yeah.
The return of a comic book first.
Oh my gosh, it is Sonic the Hedgehog issue number 279.
279!
Yes, one more book until issue 280.
I'm glad they at least kept Sonic going. Mega Man ended.
Yeah, Mega Man did end.
So.
That's sad. But there are 2 stories in this. Face of the Enemy, part 2, where it's really just Sonic, or Werewolf Sonic, and his friends against the Gaia Temple people who are trying to stop them. They go...
No, keep going. I just want to see...
Yeah.
Oh, the statues.
Yeah, the statues. Yeah. They go and save Asin, who was part of the... here's some artwork, by the way, which is drawn very classic. And they try to get him out of jail. And Big the Cat actually plays a major role in this. And we find out more about the Gaia Temples. And it seems that Eggman's now going to be on a team up with the Vulture character. So that's something. And then Hidden Cards Part 3. Really, it's just Bunny that takes the last Chaos Emerald from Lady Cassia. And she starts to break down. And you find out why when we get to the Eggman scene. So, so Bunny comes back. And now they have the Chaos Emerald, they could save the world. So now... what's her name? Well, basically, she has a thing where she has to stay with Eggman's empire, and if not, then she gets Lady Cassia off the line, off the medicine, to keep her alive.
Wow.
And that's really something. So, really big stuff that's happening. I'm really glad that this comic came back. This is a free-fall variant, by the way. And
I got the free-fall variant.
I know, I like this cover. It's really nice.
I think next month, this coming episode with Sonic Universe, I got the regular one.
Yep. And now
This is it. The end of a chapter. Birthright issue 15. Mikey versus the SWAT team. We find out through Raya and Mikey's mom, who were talking to one of the sorceresses from Tyrannos, that Mikey was not the one that was prophesized to kill Lore. He was the prophecy that would begin the fall of Lore. So Raya came back to bring him back to finish the job. We still don't know what turned Mikey, or how Mikey, made the decision instead of defeating Lore to come back and with the Nevermind and to kill all of the wizards so this way the Lore can come to Earth. Like I said, then we get Mikey versus the SWAT, and bad stuff happens. I mean, they're literally screwed until the sorcerer from the last issue comes back and ends up saving the day. And, of course, that pisses off the FBI sorcerer. And we find out a huge secret about the sorcerer that saved Mikey and the dad and Brennan. It turns out, and this is a spoiler here, but we're not going to be seeing Birthright again until... When is this? Until... One more page. June?
June.
Yes, they're on a break now. 1 month. They're on a 2-month break. We're not getting anything in April, and we're not getting anything in May.
Wow.
So, anyway, we find out that the wizard that helped them is Mikey's grandfather and the father's father. So, the grandfather's not dead. He was a wizard. And that's where the connection between Mikey and Tyrannos might have began.
Wow.
That is awesome. That was... I tell you, this is chapter 2. And again, they did it again. Amazing. I loved it. I thought it was great. Or chapter 3, was it? I'm going to feel stupid. I think it's chapter 3 because it was 1 through 5, which was the trade paperback I have. Then I started with 6 through 10. Yeah, and then 11 through 15 is probably chapter 3. Amazing, though. I'm loving Birthright. Loving it. It's my top series, favorite series. One of my top 3 from Image. But my number 1 series, which I still did not get a quote on, but that's okay, because you know what? It's still the most totally bodaciously awesome series out there, and I will throw out as many quotes as I have to just to tell you guys how freaking awesome Tom Waltz, Kevin Eastman are with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is issue 56. We get the introduction and backstory of Leatherhead. That's right, the Turtles go to the island and we get the backstory on Leatherhead. We find out that Rat King is talking with Kitsune, as I've been pronouncing her name wrong. And they have their own plan going on. We got Splinter basically appointing the girl that kind of went against Splinter to watch over Shredder's grave to prevent him from being brought back. Fugitoid ends up being able to heal the... oh god, why did I lose their names for a moment? But Krang's people, the... Jeez. Why can I not remember their names? But he's able to save them all, and they don't need to be in the ooze anymore to keep them alive, so now they're back to stable. But we find out that one of them, there's a traitor on board. Now, it could be one of 2 people. Either Leatherhead lied about his story, and he's truly the bad guy, which we all know Leatherhead is a bad guy. Oh, wait, I wanted to show this. We get also sketches.
Yeah, I was going to give it to you.
Yeah, we get some sketch art in the back of the book for Leatherhead, if you're interested in seeing sketch art. It's either Leatherhead or Krang has now been freed. And Krang is now out and about again. Either way, I can't wait for the next issue. This is a great setup for the next chapter of this story arc.
The sadly final issue of Robyn Hood, issue number 20, but there is an annual.
Thank God.
That will be coming out, so we're looking forward to that, and I might be saving this comic for Patrick Shan's sign at New York Comic Con. Definitely, this is something I want. But anyway, so we find out that Marion now has the powers of Avella, who died in the last issue, and what they're doing now is going after the Cabal, who is really asking for war against them. I want to get a good picture. Yeah, this is a good picture right here. It's an all-out fight between Robyn Hood's team and the Cabal, and that's really the whole point of the book. It does focus a little bit on Marion's character of Avella, but it's just like that's what it really is. Like there's just lots of like Robyn Hood does like a really great shooting with the arrow, and she's really a total badass. I mean, even Cinderella actually makes her few moves in this, and they all join together and they get rid of the Cabal. Maybe not all together, and someone actually does make a little sacrifice. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to spoil the book. And the next issue is Hard-Hearted, Don't Worry, I'm Ready for a Fight, which will be in this annual right here. So, looking forward to seeing how that's going to be, but
sad to see Robyn Hood go.
Because it's like we met Patrick Shannon like not so long ago.
Yep.
And I read all his books from beginning to now, and just to see this go, it's like losing a family. You know, it was like something I loved reading, but like some books have to go.
Wonder Woman issue number 50. The quest begins. She goes finding the relics. Well, in this issue, actually, she's saved by a bunch of Cyclops whom she thinks are monsters, but actually they're not. And they're being slaved around by, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. I'm just going to show you a picture of him. Hellcat. But anyway, she wants to free them and save them, but she's unable to. But she promises she'll come back. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Hellcat is the person that she's bringing the artifact to. There's still 2 more artifacts out there that are needed, but she's starting to see things for how they truly are. And Hellcat sends her to where the next artifact is. It turns out those orbs, by the way, were eyeballs, and they get explained in the book. I'm not going to spoil that. But she ends up going to Mount Etna, and she ends up having a fight with Ares, who wants his God of War status back. And unfortunately, the fight ends in a draw, but it ends in a draw because they end up fighting a dragon, and in the end, Diana actually saves the dragon because the dragon is the second artifact. Now, the last one is in the Tartarus pit, and that's where Wonder Woman's going next for the last item. And this is going to be to save Atlantis, save Zeke, save everybody. And then we get a backstory with Donna Troy, who saves this boy who needed money because his mom or his dad has medical bills or be done. And then later on in the book, she saved this boy from dying just to have him be shot because he tries to rob a bank with he believes to be a fake gun, but it turns out to be a real gun. And Donna Troy gets a pretty harsh lesson there. But I thought this was a nice issue. The backup story, I feel, was why they made this a $5 book. I would have liked to have seen more of the Wonder Woman story, but I guess they needed a whole other issue for the next relic. But Wonder Woman is definitely... I'm excited to see where they go, because I'm sure that this is the story arc that's going to be taking us all the way to issue 52, where it's going to obviously end, and then we're going to get into Rebirth Wonder Woman.
I guess I'm continuing Star Wars, issue number 17, which has no Darth Vader in it, because I told you the Darth Vader was a one-time deal.
Oh, I know that, but it's still connected. The story arc's still connected to the traitor. It's sort of connected,
but it's really just Princess Leia and Sana, who are trying to stop these group of people. I can't remember what his name is. Who is taking charge of just letting out people who are in the prison, and basically just like some letting out and some killing them. And there's a bunch of people who are going after Princess Leia. We have Luke Skywalker and Han Solo who appear in this issue, and they have these people called the Nerfs, and it's actually funny because I think it's like what would they say, like when they get frightened they tend to sneeze, and Han Solo gets the hard way when they sneeze. And then it's just Princess Leia going up against the Depopulator that she fights off against. But the thing I like about her character is that she doesn't kill. She brings them into justice because killing is not her priority. So I really like that about her. And then we have Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and the Millennium Falcon doing some action there. And I guess now Princess Leia has a group of people who are going after that robot. I can't... well, Dr. Aphra joins them in this group, which is part of the Vader Down series. And that's all she appeared. So basically, Dr. Aphra and Princess Leia working together just because this robot person is...
Well, once the story arc ends, I'll be taking over the book again for sure.
Yeah, but it's a good book. At least the Luke Skywalker and Han Solo parts are fine.
Last 2 books. Batman, issue number 50. Batman, Bruce is back. And we get to see the new costume, but we get to see him going through all of the old costumes first. We get to see all of his previous costumes here. I believe we also get to see a little glimpse here of the armor one we got to see during the Court of Owls. And then he needs something new, and he finally does. Gordon is down and out. I mean, he is a beat Batman, and it's just the real Batman who is back fighting Mr. Bloom. And if you think that Batman isn't gonna win, you're crazy, because Batman won. That's a long story short. Lots of dialogue later, but we do get to see Gordon don the chappy bat suit one more time. Batman tries to take him out of it, but Gordon fights his way back in to help Batman, and if he didn't, Batman would be dead anyway. And in the end, they win. Mr. Bloom gets taken down. Batman retakes his place as Batman in Gotham, and already Inspector Gordon, he becomes a commissioner by the end of this book, but Commissioner Gordon's already growing his mustache back, his hair is growing back to normal. I love it, and I love that they make a comment that his mustache is growing faster than his actual hair. But it's good to see Commissioner Gordon back, and there's a wonder. This reminds me a lot of Batman, him talking with Batman at the end. He's like, "We still have work to do," and he says, "Yep, I know." And then he thanks him for keeping all of what's his name, Gotham safe while he was gone. And we find out that Duke might be working with Batman, because in the end, Bruce makes Duke an offer. And then we get to see some cleanup, and then we get to see Batman back again. But we do see Bruce Wayne, while he was Bruce Wayne for that time, made a difference somewhere. We get to see a little bit of the girlfriend too. But obviously Batman can't have girlfriends because his life is too crazy. So it's kind of like Batman 1, where he leaves the girlfriend because he realizes he has to be Batman. Finally, Lois and Clark. Issue number 6. John finally puts the pieces together, and John finally starts to show his powers off. Superman is busy fighting this nobody supervillain that's wreaking havoc, but Lois and John are actually now prisoners. Well, first, of course, he ends up saving the girl that was taken prisoner by Inner Gang. So after that, he ends up fighting this nobody supervillain who's really just a supervillain for TV. He ends up fighting him for a bit because he puts people's lives in danger, while Lois and John are now prisoners of Inner Gang, and it turns out that's where John finally starts putting things together. He's like, "I heard you and Dad talking. Why do you look like the Lois Lane in this world? Why does Dad look sort of like Superman? And why are you lying to me?" And then out of nowhere, he's like, "All I want is the truth. Why won't you tell me?" And he breaks free from the ropes. And then he breaks his mom out, and they end up escaping. We find out, well, first of all, the woman, Hiatus, is now on Earth from space. So she's obviously going to be going after that gem that Hank Henshaw has. And we get to see John Kent finally, reveal that he has powers. And the weird thing is, in the old DC universe, Clark didn't start getting his powers until he was a young adult. John Kent is only about 5 years old-ish.
Mm-hmm.
5? I don't know how old John Kent is, but he's already showing powers, which is awesome, because that means that we're going to be, well, as we saw from Super Sons, he's obviously being brushed up. And also, if you read the title for Superman, Clark is dealing with his son having powers and whether he should embrace being a superhero or, hide his son away. Have his son hide his powers. And honestly, that's going to be a very interesting story. I'm looking forward to reading that. It's part of my top 5 books I'm looking forward to. I have that on Comic Frontline. And with that, that's it for this review, guys.
Yep. So
hopefully, we will be ready really soon for the comic review for the comics that came out this past Wednesday. Look forward to a haul video, hopefully, God willing, tomorrow, if the books come. Till then, as always, links in the description below. Feel free to comment about any of the books we talked about here or books we didn't talk about here. Recommendations are always welcome. And as always, guys, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I'll see you guys really soon in the next video.